Welcome back to my channel on all things 49ers with myself. My name is Mike Hurtaza. If you like this video, please subscribe, please like, and please share. Not that you probably ever will share it, but with that, we'll start. And I want to talk about the 2021 draft class for the 49ers. And this is not a grade at all. We're 1 year in. Everybody should be inconclusive. I mean, we have some hits here already, but uh, I think it's something that we just review. It's something that there's some really question marks on this draft class, specifically in the second and third round. But uh, again, one in a year, things can change, and we'll get to it. Here we go. Here, if you see down below, we have basically all the players, and of course, we'll start with Trey Lance, and of course, I think he's not any question really at this point with if he's a success or if he's a failure. End of the day, this draft class will go and it'll look successful as long as Trey Lance is successful. Now they did give up 2 first-round picks to move up to 3 with Miami, and it's looking good on the trade front because the Miami Dolphins ended up trading their pick to the Eagles, and then they kept the 49ers pick, and that is pick 29. I mean, that's pretty good value right there for the 49ers. As long as they keep winning, those picks will drop back, and it makes the value completely look a lot better than initially did. Trey Lance, let's say, he's a big question mark at this point. Not a bad question mark, not a good question mark. He just only played 2 games, right? We'll see how he does this year. But this is going to be a 4-year look right now. He's definitely has those traits that you want. Escape the pressure, has the big arm. His accuracy should improve over time, specifically when he gets more comfortable playing. But yeah, at the end of the day, this class will look as good as he does, even though we might have overpaid on that trade up. But it is what it is. If you're going to overpay for any position, it'll be at the quarterback spot. Moving on to round 2, where we drafted Aaron Banks. We initially had traded back. I believe we were at pick 42, 43. Then we picked Aaron Banks out of Notre Dame. And look, he's a bigger guy, a bigger guard than what we would typically get in the past. He, I guess, had to rework his body, but the big issue is he got injured really early in preseason. After that week 1 game, he was basically out till week 1 of the regular season. Didn't get much playing time. We did see him on special teams on the offensive line, but outside of that, I guess he was reworking his body so that he could be, can move a little bit more freely on this offensive line. I would expect him to be able to start this coming season. If not, then it's a big question mark as to what is going on with him. But he's super inconclusive at this point. We have no clue where he is or where he will be. But year 2 or 3 will be huge for his development. Moving on to Trey Sermon, and really Trey Sermon's the big question mark because he is a running back, and those typically get instant success. Especially since we traded up for him in round 3. I definitely think he is more of the question for me than Aaron Banks. But look, he was more drafted as a power inside zone running back, which we typically have not used in the past, as we are an outside zone team. It's going to be interesting to see how he works with Trey Lance. I think he definitely fits more in this offense going forward. So he's a question mark. Hopefully he can gain a role this season and be a good power back, with Elijah Mitchell as our fast speed guy. And then we got Ambry Thomas at the end of the 3rd round. This was the pick, I believe, that was a supplemental pick that we got. No, a comp pick, I should say. Ambry Thomas, not supplemental. Ambry Thomas basically didn't play for more than half the season. Then because of injury, he was given opportunity, and he got better every game that he played, and I was pretty impressed with him from where he had started to where he is. I think he definitely has an opportunity to continue to be the starter going forward. I definitely, as the 49ers, should sign a veteran to compete with him for the outside corner spot, as he should not be given the job. He should earn it. But I think I think he's end up being a good player for us long term. We'll see how it plays out. Then Jalen Moore, who initially was drafted to be guard, but because of injury, ended up playing tackle and played early on for Trent Williams at the left tackle spot. But when we had some injuries at Mike McGlinchey went down, he got moved into that tackle spot. First game in, missed an assignment, and basically got benched for Compton. So Jalen Moore, he looks good when he played outside of that game, and then in the playoff spot when Trent Williams got hurt, it was actually week 18, and they put in McKivitz and over him, which kind of made me think what's going on here with him. I'm kind of hoping they move him back to that guard spot where I think he'll excel at. And if we move Lincoln Tomlinson, they put Aaron Banks at the left guard, then Moore might be able to be compete with Brunskill for that right guard spot. And then we got Hufanga, safety out of USC. I'm actually been really impressed with him. Special teams ace, and then when he had the opportunity to play box safety, has shown up and has had some major impact this season. I think he ends up being a guy who can compete at that strong safety position if we let Tart leave. So it's going to be something fun to see with him because he's a guy that I'm rooting for to be a successful player because he has all intangibles as a player. He might not have the most talent, but he's a very smart guy, so I'm excited to see how that plays out. And then we have Elijah Mitchell, who has been basically our biggest hit so far, a running back in the 6th round. These are guys that I would rather draft further down, kind of take a running back at the end who has all the traits that you would want in outside zone Kyle Shanahan running back. The only thing is he has been nicked up quite a lot this season. That's something to look forward. Hopefully he can get a little stronger, maybe stay healthy. But I definitely think he's more of a, I'm not sure he's a superstar or anything like that. I mean, he might be more of a rotational running back who can, I would try to limit him if we can get Sermon or Mostert if he resigns. I definitely think a committee approach would be best with this running back core. But we've seen Elijah Mitchell can handle it at the end of this, towards the end, except for the playoff run. It was really weird because he kind of fell off, not playing wise. They just didn't use him as much. So we'll see how this whole draft class turns out. Again, this is year 1. We'll see how year 2, 3, and 4 go. Year 2 is typically the biggest year where if they had played, what can they do to improve because the NFL kind of catches up. And we'll see how that plays out. So I'm excited to see, Aaron Banks, Sermon, Trey Lance, of course. All these guys can potentially have a role with this team. I'm excited to see how they work out. And with that, please subscribe, and we'll talk to you on the next one.